The Grand Council chamber was larger than any human building. Its silver walls stretched upward like a mountain, and banners of hundreds of alien empires hung from the high ceiling. Every race of the galaxy had sent their leaders here, all gathered to discuss peace and power. The room was filled with voices, strange languages mixing like waves in a storm. At one end of the chamber sat the humans. Their table was small compared to the others, yet every eye kept turning toward them. Humanity was new to the stars. Only a few generations had passed since Earth built ships strong enough to cross the void. But in that short time, humans had already fought battles that made the oldest empires uneasy. Whispers moved across the room. Some alien delegates laughed, their sharp teeth glinting. Others sneered, calling the humans reckless children. Still, there was a tension in the air. A quiet fear, because everyone remembered how quickly humans learned, how they fought, and how they refused to kneel. The lead human delegate sat still, a young general in uniform, his dark eyes calm. Beside him were diplomats and officers, each silent, waiting as the alien council began to speak. The chancellor of the council, a massive creature with skin like polished stone, raised his voice. "Humans demand too much," he said. "They want equal votes, equal trade, equal standing with ancient empires who ruled long before they left their own atmosphere." Laughter followed his words, the sound of claws tapping on desks, wings rustling, voices mocking. The human general did not move, his face unreadable. One of the alien rulers leaned forward, his long neck bending low. "You are new, you are weak, you are not ready to stand with us," he hissed. "Be grateful for the seat we gave you." The cameras floating around the chamber captured everything. Billions across the galaxy were watching, on human. Worlds' families sat glued to their screens, waiting to see if their leaders would give in. But the human delegate finally spoke, his voice steady, calm, but sharp enough to cut the noise. "We came here for peace," he said. "We asked for respect, nothing more." The chamber grew quieter, though some aliens still scoffed. "Peace does not mean obedience," the general continued. "We offered terms, fair terms, but you laugh, you insult, and you forget who we are." A silence spread then, one so deep that even the buzzing drones stopped for a second. Every alien felt something shift, something they did not expect. The general slowly rose from his seat, his boots echoing on the polished floor. His figure was small compared to the giants in the room, but his presence filled the chamber. "If you will not hear us with respect," he said, "then we have nothing more to say." Gasps rippled through the rows. Never before had a species walked away from the Galactic Council. Never had anyone dared to leave the table once summoned. The alien chancellor tried to laugh, but his voice cracked. "You would abandon peace. You would walk away from the council." The general's eyes narrowed. "We will walk away from your mockery, not from peace. Remember this day," he said. Then he turned, and with him the humans rose, their chairs scraping against the floor like thunder. Billions watched as the humans began to leave, step by step, toward the massive doors of the chamber. Alien delegates stared in disbelief, some in anger, some in fear, because they knew this was not weakness, it was defiance. And as the doors shut behind the humans, the chamber felt colder, darker, as if the stars themselves had grown silent. After the humans walked into the empty corridor, a tense silence remained in the council chamber. The alien leaders exchanged worried glances, their long fingers tapped impatiently on the polished tables. Some whispered urgently to one another, while others tried to mask their fear with laughter. The human general stopped just outside the chamber, his face calm, his eyes steady. He turned to his aides. "Prepare the statement," he said. "We will make our position clear, but we do not beg, we do not threaten, we simply state the truth." Back inside, the alien chancellor slammed his massive claw on the table. "How dare they?" he growled. "They walk away, and they still have the audacity to speak." The council murmured, some angry, some confused. No one knew exactly what to expect next. Minutes later, human representatives returned, not to the main chamber, but to the holographic stage above the council. Their voices broadcast to every alien world in the galaxy. Every screen flickered with the human message. "We offered peace," the general said. "We asked for respect and fairness. Every empire here was given the same chance to agree or refuse, yet the insults and mockery continue. Humanity does not bargain with those who laugh at justice." The aliens in the chamber stiffened, some leaning forward in disbelief, some retreating to whisper, "Do they think they can threaten us?" One high-ranking alien diplomat hissed, "They are too young, too inexperienced." But the humans continued, their words calm, deliberate, each phrase carrying weight. "We did not come to dominate. We did not come to destroy. We came to negotiate peace, but peace requires mutual respect. If respect is impossible here, then we must act elsewhere. Outside, on alien worlds, chaos began. News spread faster than any fleet could move. Markets shivered, armies scrambled, empires that had ignored humans for decades suddenly felt a pang of fear. The human general paused, letting silence fall, a silence so heavy that even the council's flying drones seemed to hover still. "This is our final statement," he said. "The terms we offered are fair, simple, and just. You may accept them or you may refuse. Humanity will not wait forever." One alien delegate laughed, sharp and cruel. "They threaten us with nothing. They are alone. They have no allies strong enough to challenge the council." The general's eyes burned, and for the first time the calm voice carried a warning. "Do not mistake patience for weakness. Do not mistake reason for fear. Every choice has a consequence. Remember that." The council erupted, creatures shouting, claws pounding, wings flapping, voices raised in anger, some calling for immediate retaliation, others urging caution. But already doubt had begun to seep in, a tiny seed of fear no one could erase. And across the galaxy, the humans did not back down. They did not waver. They simply waited, silent and unyielding, their message clear, their resolve firm, every world watching, every empire feeling the weight of humanity's courage. In the council chamber, one alien elder whispered to another, "They are not bluffing. They truly mean it. They will act if we refuse." And for the first time, the alien leaders realized something that had been impossible to imagine. Humans did not negotiate like others. They did not bow to tradition, and they did not fear history. The human general finally nodded to his aides, and they stepped back, leaving the chamber. The alien leaders stared, their minds racing, because the humans had given no ultimatum that could be broken, no threat that could be ignored, only the undeniable fact that they would walk away if disrespected. A tremor of fear ran through the council, and the galaxy began to understand slowly the hope. Mans were not weak, they were not naive, and they were certainly not ordinary. And in that moment, the first signs of true uncertainty spread. The council's laughter faded. The humans walked down the grand corridor, their boots echoing against the polished floor, every step steady, unhurried, yet carrying a weight that no alien could ignore. The council chamber behind them buzzed with chaos. Debates and arguments spiraled out of control, but the humans did not look back. They simply moved forward. Outside the chamber, cameras captured every detail. Screens flickered across thousands of alien worlds, every empire watching, every mind racing. The humans were leaving, yet their departure spoke louder than any battle cry. The youngest human general, barely 28, looked at the massive doors, his eyes calm, but inside, a storm of strategy raged. He whispered to his aide, "Let them wonder, let them fear, do not let them see hesitation." In the council chamber, an alien chancellor slammed his claw on the desk. "Stop them," he roared. "Do not let them leave. Recall the fleets, send the messengers, make them stay." But it was too late. The humans were already out of reach, walking through the endless corridors of the space station, their silence a sharp blade against the pride of the alien leaders. The alien press immediately reported panic. Headlines screamed across systems. Humans reject negotiations. Galactic peace collapses. Unknown consequences loom. And everywhere, leaders scrambled, advisors argued, fleets mobilized, yet the humans moved calmly, as if they were untouchable. On one distant world, a young diplomat gasped, "They are not afraid. They are walking away without fear. Can any empire challenge them?" Back on the station, humans reached the observation deck, looking down at the galaxy below. Thousands of lights flickered, worlds alive with activity, fleets on alert, signals sent in every direction. Yet the humans did not flinch. They simply observed, a quiet confidence emanating from every gesture. The eldest Man General spoke softly. "History teaches fear, but courage changes it. We offered peace. We offered fairness. If they cannot accept it, the choice is theirs, not ours." Meanwhile, inside the council, tension reached a breaking point. Alliances fractured. Whispers turned to accusations. Some blamed their own leaders, others blamed humanity, yet all felt the same chill of uncertainty. The humans paused at the edge of the docking bay, massive ships waiting silently, engines humming, the galaxy holding its breath. No one dared approach, no one dared stop them. A small alien envoy tried one last time, rushing forward. "Wait, humans, reconsider, do not leave, we can—" The human general turned, his eyes cold but not cruel. "We have already decided. You will hear our statement across the stars. Respect or consequences, your choice." And then, without another word, he walked onto the ship, his crew following, engines flaring to life, the doors sealed, the humans were gone, leaving silence, leaving tension, leaving a galaxy that had never seen courage like this, a courage that did not shout, did not threaten, it simply acted, it simply existed, and as the stars passed beneath them, the humans knew that walking away was not surrender, it was power, it was principle, and across the galaxy, leaders and generals began to understand something terrifying. Humans would never bow, never negotiate from fear, and never wait forever. For the first time, the alien worlds trembled, not because of weapons, not because of fleets, but because of the certainty of humanity, a certainty that one day they might act, and when that day came, the galaxy would not be ready, and so silence reigned across systems, fear quietly spreading, uncertainty growing, as humans traveled through space, leaving the council behind, leaving history watching, leaving the galaxy to wonder, what will they do in Exton? News of the humans walking away spread faster than any message, faster than any signal, across star systems, across empires. The ripple began, small at first, but growing, stretching into every corner of the galaxy. On the planet Varel, council leaders argued fiercely, their voices overlapping. How can they act like this? One yelled, they have no fear, no respect, no tradition. Another hissed, but deep down, all of them felt it. The first wave of panic, the undeniable shift in power. Meanwhile, traders and merchants whispered in crowded spaceports, ships docked and engines cooled. Did you see the humans leave the negotiations? One asked, voice trembling, without even a threat. Another replied, yes, and yet it felt like a warning. In hidden corners of the galaxy, spies reported back to their masters, every movement of the humans tracked, yet no one dared approach directly. Every fleet commander hesitated, every strategy faltered, because humans acted on principle, and no empire had ever seen that kind of certainty. Back on the human flagship, the youngest general studied star maps, plotting their next steps, but not for war, not for conquest, for observation and preparation. They will act out of fear or greed or pride, he said to his second in command. We must be ready for both, yet we must not become like them. In the alien media, the panic grew. News channels repeated the same phrases. Humans reject all peace talks. Galactic leaders frustrated. Unknown threat looms. And everywhere, citizens of countless worlds watched, hearts quickening, wondering what would happen next. The ripple became waves, and the waves began to crash. Alliances that had stood for centuries started to wobble. Secret pacts were questioned. Spies were recalled. Generals debated. Some wanted to strike first. Others wanted to negotiate again, but none knew how. Because humans had changed the rules. On a remote asteroid colony, a young alien diplomat looked at the live feed of human ships gliding through space. They are not aggressive, yet they dominate with silence, she said to her mentor. It is terrifying and brilliant at the same time. Even the most hardened warlords felt the ripple. Their hands tightened on controls, their voices low and uncertain. They will not wait. They will not beg. They will not falter, and we cannot predict their actions. And far from the chaos, humans continued their journey, stars streaking past the observation window, the galaxy's reactions coming in through the communication systems. Yet they did not act hastily. They studied, they listened, they waited, knowing that every empire would soon realize their departure was only the beginning. On some worlds, protests began, citizens demanding answers, some inspired, some fearful, others angry, while on others, governments convened emergency councils, sending fleets and messengers, trying to interpret the silent message of humanity, a message louder than any threat, louder than any weapon. The ripple touched every corner of the galaxy, a subtle but undeniable power, a reminder that courage, principle, and patience could shake the strongest empires. And in the heart of the human flagship, the general spoke quietly. We did not make them tremble with fire or guns, the eldest said. We made them tremble with certainty, and the ripple will continue until the galaxy understands what it means to face humans who act without fear, without compromise, without hesitation. The stars seemed brighter as the humans traveled onward, leaving uncertainty, fear, and a new respect behind them. And the galaxy waited, every eye turned toward the streaking human ships, knowing one thing: this ripple had only just begun, and the consequences would echo for generations. The galaxy was no longer certain. Doubt crept into the strongest empires, doubt that spread like a shadow, darkening councils, war rooms, and the minds of the ambitious. On Zenthera Prime, an alien warlord slammed his clawed hand on the table, scattering star maps. How can we predict them? He roared. They do not fear, they do not bargain, and they do not follow our rules. His advisors shifted uneasily, none of them daring to answer. Meanwhile, across the void, in a quiet chamber of the Galactic Assembly, delegates whispered behind closed doors, their voices hushed. If humans act this way, what hope do we have of enforcing any agreement? One diplomat asked, eyes wide with panic. Perhaps they are stronger than we imagined, another replied, fear dripping from every word. Even spies felt the uncertainty, returning from human systems with reports that made no sense. They seem calm, they make no demands, they do not negotiate like others, one agent said, shaking. And yet, the entire galaxy reacts as if we are on the brink of war. On the human flagship, the generals observed these ripples with quiet satisfaction, not because they sought fear, but because they understood truth. Doubt is more powerful than armies, the youngest general said, tracing lines across the star map. It makes them hesitate, question themselves, and it exposes weakness. In distant starports, alien merchants murmured about humans, some fascinated, others terrified. Rumors flew faster than ships. They left negotiations, without threats, one whispered. And now every council is unsure of what to do next. On a mining colony orbiting a dying sun, engineers and civilians watched the news feeds. Their hearts quickened. Humans do not bend, they do not yield, and yet no shots were fired, a miner said, gripping his helmet. How can silence carry such power? In secret bases, generals baited, weapons tested, and ships fueled, yet none dared move first, because doubt paralyzed them more than fear ever could. If we strike now, what if we are wrong? One commander asked, the words heavy with hesitation. And if we wait, will they grow stronger? Another replied, voice barely audible. Even the scholars felt it, the historians, the analysts, recording humanity's moves in detail, studying patterns, trying to find weakness, trying to predict what humans would do next. But the more they observed, the more uncertainty grew, like shadows stretching across the galaxy. On the human flagship, the eldest general spoke to the council. They will test everything they can, but the truth is simple, he said. We act on principle, not fear. We act with clarity, not chaos, and doubt will follow them everywhere they look. Back on Xanthera Prime, the warlord could feel it in his core, hesitation, the strange fear of uncertainty, his fleet ready to fire, yet frozen, his allies unsure, and whispers of rebellion stirring. Perhaps we underestimated them, he muttered, more to himself than anyone else. Across star systems, this shadow of doubt stretched, touching every empire, shaking confidence, unraveling alliances, and leaving leaders and citizens alike wondering, watching, waiting for the next move of humans who had walked away. And in the silent corridors of the human flagship, as stars streaked past, generals shared no words of triumph, only quiet understanding, knowing that true power lay not in the fleets behind them, but in the doubt they had left in the hearts of everyone who thought they could control or predict humans. The galaxy waited, holding its breath, as if the stars themselves paused in their endless dance. Across countless systems, alien fleets hovered in orbit, engines humming softly, weapons primed but untouched, commanders staring at monitors, eyes wide, hearts pounding, none daring to make the first move. On Vorton Prime, the council chambers were empty of laughter, debates replaced by tense silence. Scribes hurriedly wrote reports, diplomats whispered in corners, and even the walls seemed to echo the uncertainty that had spread across the stars. The humans, they do not rush, they do not strike. Yet we cannot ignore them, one diplomat said, voice trembling. What will they do next? In the human flagship, the generals moved with quiet precision, every step deliberate, every command measured, yet the air was calm, almost peaceful, as if nothing extraordinary was happening. We give them time, the eldest general said, tracing points of light on the star map. Time to realize that doubt is their greatest enemy, and in that doubt, they will lose themselves. The younger generals nodded, understanding that patience could be as deadly as any weapon. In distant starports, civilians watched transmissions of human ships moving slowly through space, calm and unhurried, yet every move calculated, a perfect balance of confidence and restraint. Rumors spread like wildfire, reaching even the most remote outposts. They are preparing, but for what? One miner asked, are they going to fight, or is this some new strategy? Alien spies returned from secret missions, bringing reports that confused even the most experienced commanders. No weapons fired, no fleets attacked, one whispered, and yet their presence, it changes everything. On the human flagship, engineers worked silently, maintaining the ship's systems, repairing every minor fault, ensuring that nothing would fail. But when the moment came, the moment when humanity's next move would shake the galaxy, even the scholars and historians were not immune, feverishly recording every action, every signal, every subtle maneuver, trying to decode human strategy. But the more they observed, the more mysteries unfolded. Across battle-ready stations, commanders checked their fleets, weapons loaded, defenses ready, yet hesitation ruled every decision, every order delayed by fear of what humans might do. In the quiet of the human command room, the eldest general observed star maps, tracing paths of alien fleets, predicting movements not by guessing, but by understanding their fear, their uncertainty, their hesitation. "They are frozen," he said, more to himself than anyone else, frozen by doubt. "That is the calm before their own storm. We only need to wait, and when the moment comes, the galaxy will witness the truth." The galaxy slept uneasily, as if aware that something monumental was approaching. Fleets frozen in orbit, diplomats unsure of what to say, merchants holding back trade, spies frozen with confusion. And yet humanity moved steadily forward, not with noise, not with chaos, but with purpose, patience, and clarity. A calm presence that made every other world question their own power, their own strength, their own decisions. For in this calm, the storm was building, quiet but inevitable, stretching across the void, unseen by most but felt in every heartbeat, every command, every whispered fear across the galaxy. And the humans waited, watching, ready to act, knowing that the calm was not weakness, but a preparation, a perfect prelude to the moment when the galaxy would finally understand that they had underestimated the power of a people who walked away from negotiations and made the stars tremble. The silence broke like a sudden storm, piercing the void as alien fleets held their positions, eyes fixed on the human flagship, hearts pounding with fear and anticipation. On board the human command ship, the generals moved with calm certainty, every hand steady, every eye focused, their presence alone commanding respect across countless light years. "Now," the eldest general said, voice low but firm, "the galaxy will see what it has never seen before." And the other generals nodded, understanding that this was the moment they had prepared for. The moment to turn patience into power. Signals rippled through space, invisible but undeniable. Human ships aligning, engines flaring, weapons systems activating with precision. A choreography of purpose that left alien observers breathless. In the council chambers of Vorton Prime, alarms blared, screens lit up with strange movements, and diplomats shouted over one another. "What are they doing? Why are they not attacking? Why is this calm terrifying?" Across distant worlds, news spread at the speed of thought, fear and curiosity entwined. Soldiers gripped their weapons tighter, commanders reconsidered strategies, and spies reported back with trembling hands. From the flagship's bridge, the youngest general raised a hand, and in that single motion, thousands of ships obeyed silently, their lights blinking in synchrony, engines humming a deadly melody of power. The galaxy watched, frozen, as humans executed maneuvers that defied expectation, bypassing traps, avoiding ambushes, showing patience and control, teaching every observer that strength was not always loud. Alien admirals tried to respond, but hesitation ruled their actions. Fear clouded judgment, and every calculated plan faltered under the weight of uncertainty. In the void above war-torn planets, merchant vessels stopped, civilians hid, and even the most powerful rulers realized that they were witnessing a force unlike any other, a force built not just on weapons, but on discipline, unity, and the refusal to be intimidated. The eldest general stood before the panoramic window of the command room, eyes tracing the paths of alien fleets, lips curling in a small, confident smile. "They thought leaving the negotiations would confuse us, that we would react with anger or haste, but we do not react. We command," he said, calm as a winter night. Suddenly, human fleets executed their plan, not with destruction, but with undeniable control, surrounding enemy ships, cutting off escape routes, showing dominance without bloodshed. Yet the message was clear. The galaxy understood. Humans were not to be underestimated. From distant observation decks, alien commanders whispered in disbelief. How can a people walk away from peace talks and make the universe tremble without firing a single shot? On board the flagship, the generals shared no words, only understanding, only the satisfaction of knowing that the galaxy had finally seen the truth, that fear and respect had been earned, not through chaos, but through mastery of patience and timing. And as the stars glimmered above, reflecting off the hulls of human ships, the galaxy trembled, not from destruction, but from awe, from the realization that humanity had rewritten the rules, teaching every world that power could be quiet, calm, and unstoppable. The moment of reckoning had arrived, and the galaxy would never forget the day humans walked away from negotiations and made the stars themselves shiver.